Hey guys, as you can see, I'm by myself today. I'm doing a different kind of video today. I'm sharing my 50 favorite hip hop albums, kind of to commemorate our 50k subs on YouTube. So thank you guys for that, and thank you guys for your support, for your ongoing support, and for being here. So yeah, I've compiled this list. As I said, these are my favorites. I'm not trying to compile like what I think are the best albums of all time, or I'm not taking any legacy or anything into consideration. This is just purely based on my personal taste, my personal experiences, personal memories. I put a little caveat on there. There's a limit of 2 albums per artist. Otherwise, this list would just probably comprise of like 10 rappers. I've left off some big names, like quite a bit actually. I've left off several big albums. So I'm not trying to be controversial or anything. It's just this is what I'm kind of gravitating towards. So number 50 is a bit controversial, a little bit pretentious. I put Arm & Hammer Black Label. I'm a big Arm & Hammer fan. I like several of their albums, but I chose to go with this one. It's a vinyl only album, not released on streaming or anything like that. And I think it's comprised of B-sides from We Buy Diabetic strips. I just love this album. Like it's just super dark. The production's amazing, super immersive. Honestly, I would have it higher on the list, but because it's new and it's a B-side album and it's so limited and it's so pretentious that I left it at 50. At 49, I have Rap Ferreira's Purple Moonlight Pages. This was produced by, I think it's called the Jefferson Boys, but Kenny Siegel is part of the band. I'm a big Kenny Siegel fan, so it's a very like jazz infused, kind of a little bit spoken wordish. You guys should check it out. It's really good. 48, I have a rapper by the name of Big Moochie Grape, with the album called East Haiti Baby. The best way I could describe him is he's a southern rapper, not kind of a southern rapper, but he is a southern rapper. If you're into like Gucci Mane and Migos, I think you would like it. The beats are, they're just bangers. It's consistent. He has it all. He has the voice, he has the beats, and he has the content as well. 47, I have Chester Watson, Past Cloaks. He was the first rapper I discovered on SoundCloud. If you're into Earl or Doom, if you're into that kind of like lo-fi, psychedelic, monotone, no hooks type hip hop, then you should check that out. 46, we have Pete Rock and CL Smooth, The Main Ingredient. I'm a huge fan of these two. I used to listen to them quite a bit back in the day. The Main Ingredient and Mecca and the Soul Brother. And of course, like Pete Rock's solo work, like Pete's Instrumentals, Soul Survivor. But I chose to go with The Main Ingredient because I think it was the one that I played the most. So 45, we have Mac Miller Swimming. For the longest time, I would say Faces was my favorite project from Mac Miller. I think they're kind of tied for me. I just like the chemistry he had with John Bryan on Swimming. As we said in the review, in the reaction, that it feels more like a composition rather than a bunch of beats given to Mac to rap on, and the emotional impact that it contains. Obviously Faces has a lot of emotion as well, just kind of based on kind of the darker things he was rapping about, but here it just kind of comes together musically as well. 44, I have Navy Blue, Navy's reprise, I should say. Navy Blue's a rapper that I grown to love, actually. He's one of my favorite rappers at the moment. Super chill, you put it in the background, you can go skateboarding, you can go cruising, whatever. It's a great album. At 43, I have Rome Street's Kiss the Ring. Yeah, I don't know. I think he has a presence that I really enjoy. Conductor beats, really grimy, lo-fi beats. Obviously he's part of Griselda, so comes with the territory. At 42, I have JPEG Mafia's Offline. I didn't have too much trouble picking this one. I would say Veteran would have been the closest. It's just, I feel like the second half of Veteran kind of tapers off a little bit for me, but Offline I think is just super consistent. Some of my favorite songs are on there. Number 41 is a bit of a different pick, as a rapper from the UK, if you're not familiar with Dizzy Rascal. And he has an album called Showtime, and that's what I have here. I think it's his second album. I think he had like a lot of success with the first one, Boy in the Corner. It's critically acclaimed, and it was kind of like a breakthrough for grime music. But Showtime, I don't know. I remember playing it in my, I must have been in my 20s, late 20s or something. And I played it nonstop. And I played it pretty recently, like a couple of weeks ago, just to kind of just to hear it again. And the beats hold up. Like they're, I don't want to say experimental, but they're different. They're different. At 40, I have Travis Scott, Astroworld. I know this is a little bit maybe of a controversial pick. I know most people would pick Rodeo or Utopia, but I don't know. I love Astroworld. I was around at the time when it came out. I mean, or I was paying attention, I should say, when it came out, and I don't know. The songs are amazing. I don't know. I just love Astroworld. Can't really explain it. 39, I have Westside Gunn's Supreme Blind Tell. Yeah, I like it better than Pray for Paris. I know that might be a bit of a wild take, but I just like the griminess of it. I like the variety of production. Like they have Pete Rock on here, Alchemist. Yeah, the features, I think Rock Marciano's on there, Elzai, Anderson .Paak. Yeah, just super. There's a lot of soulful stuff in there as well. So 38, I have an album called Continuance, and this is Currency with The Alchemist. I don't know. When this came out, I just could not stop playing it. It's just such a chill album, a great album you can cruise to as well. And Currency, I like his voice, I like his delivery. I like how chill he is. And of course Alchemist provides him with some smooth beats. I mean, he's one of the goats, goes without saying. 37, speaking of goats, we have Dr. Dre's The Chronic. It's funny because I wasn't a huge fan of like West Coast music growing up, because back in school it was usually the bad kids that were listening to like Tupac and Dr. Dre and Snoop, and even when I got older they were listening to like 50 Cent and Eminem. So I just always associated that kind of music, I guess, like Death Row and Aftermath, with people I didn't like in school. But now that I'm older, kind of like going back and yeah, like The Chronic definitely has a lot of memories, but like listening to it kind of like without kind of blocking out the nostalgia and stuff like that, it's just, I mean, it's a timeless album, very influential. At 36, I have Slum Village, Fantastic Volume 2. I'm not gonna lie, the main reason why this is on this list and why it's up here is because of Jay Dilla. Some of my favorite Dilla beats are on here. And I mean, the rapping from Slum Village is amazing. It reminds me of like Tribe Called Quest, The Roots. So if you're into that kind of music, I would suggest that. At 35, we have Enter the 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, what can I say? What can I say that hasn't been said about this album? We did a reaction to that, so if you want to check that out, that's on YouTube. 33 and 34 are a little bit controversial as well. 34, I have Tetsuan Youth by Lupe Fiasco. I had trouble trying to pick my top 2 Lupe albums, but because like the other one was Food and Liquor, but the problem for me with that one is I felt like some of the production didn't really age well, and that's more like a 2000s kind of sound, like kind of busy drums and kind of strings and stuff like this. But I don't know. Tetsuan Youth, it has Mural. 33, where it gets a little bit funny, is I put Samurai there. Samurai by Lupe Fiasco. It's my favorite Lupe album. I know it just came out this year, but I've been playing it nonstop. I think he's on, he's in top form. The thing about like Tetsuan Youth and kind of like moving forward is like those are albums that he really wanted to make, like all the songs he wanted with no outside influence, excuse me, from like the labels. So like I know with Food and Liquor, there was a couple songs on there that he didn't even like, just because the label was kind of pushing that on him. It kind of feels like, with Tetsuan Youth, as I said, moving forward, like Drogas Wave, and I'm drawing a blank on the other one. But then Samurai as well, just like I said, he had full control over those projects. Samurai kind of has Nujabes type beats, I would say. Like, I guess in my mind, that's what it sounds like, because the cover kind of has like an anime kind of vibe too. So that might have elevated it for me as well, but I think his rapping is just insane on that, and the beats are super chill, like boom bap. Produced by Soundtrack. Soundtrack is Filipino. I'm Filipino. I think all of it just kind of comes together, and that's kind of why I like this Lupe album the most. At 32, I got Mace Harlem World. So obviously this one's a throwback, mostly nostalgia purposes for sure. A few of the songs really hold up. Like I listened to them recently as well. I still enjoy it. Some of it hasn't aged well, obviously, because Diddy's involved, but 31, a very different album project. I have Mach-Hommy, The Gat, or The Gospel According to Mach-Hommy. This is another artist that I had trouble kind of like narrowing down just to 2 albums. If I didn't have that 2 album rule, I would have like 5 or 6 Mach-Hommy projects on here. But The Gat, I just enjoy for its conciseness. I mean, the rapping, it's Mach-Hommy, so he's always going to be in top form. The beats, has more of a jazzy side. Number 30, I have Soul Tape 3 by Fabulous. This is one of those projects that I discovered, I think, in my early 30s, something like that. And I don't know, it was just a soundtrack for traveling, going to the gym, going for runs and stuff. So it was always a staple in my iPod. 29, I actually have my second Mach-Hommy project, which is, Molly's gonna kill me if I get this wrong. It's Tuer les tous. Tuer les tous, which is translates to kill 'em all. So this is a project that was produced entirely by DJ Muggs, and the reason why this is up here is because of I just prefer the production on here. It's dark, some of his darker beats. But yeah, I like I said, I could have put Pray for Haiti on here. I keep getting this other one mixed up. Waj, Wap, Koj, Wap, Con, Judge. And there's another one he did with the God Fahim. It's with the Michael Jordan crying meme on the cover. Dollar Menu. There were a few I could have put on here. 28, I have Diggable Planets, Region. So this is an older album, early 90s, jazzy, kind of like, I don't want to say spoken word, but the flows are super old school. So it reminds me of like Tribe Called Quest, Far Side, kind of like I said, jazzy, all about positivity. It's a great one to play like in the morning or going for brunch or something. Like it's super vibey. It's cool. 27. Actually, I'm surprised that I only put one project from this artist. He's one of my favorite rappers at the moment, or has been in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's Conway the Machine. Reject 2. Again, I could have put from a king to a god, I think was the one that came out in 2020. That one was amazing. And he just puts out these other kind of low-key projects. Reject 2, I think, is one of those low-key projects. It's pretty standard Conway, pretty standard Griselda, dirty, grimy beats by Derringer. Mach-Hommy's on there. Rock Marciano as well. And yeah, I mean, Conway, like I said, he's probably my favorite rapper on Griselda. At 26, I have King Ghidorah, Take Me to Your Leader. So for those who don't know, this is MF Doom, another alias of MF Doom. He produced all these songs, and I think he rapped on 3 or 4 of these. And he also has those collage type skits on here that we've kind of grown used to with MF Doom. And the reason why I like this is just primarily for the beats. Special Herbs is my favorite Doom project, and those beats just they put a smile on my face. They make me happy all the time. I would say the production carries it, but songs like Phasers is one of my favorite Doom songs. He's amazing on it. As I said, the collage skits on here are really great. The featured artists are pretty good. But again, it's a lot of nostalgia as well. I was definitely illegally downloading MP3s during this time, kind of mid 2000s. Brings me back to those days. 25, I have Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, Bandana. I actually like this better than Pinata. And it's very close. Like I'm not saying that Pinata is trash or anything. I love Pinata. I just feel like the first 9 or 10 songs are amazing on that album, and then it slips a little bit for me. Like I feel like I don't necessarily go back to those last songs, but I feel like Bandana is a bit more consistent. The features on there are crazy. I also feel like Madlib challenged Freddie Gibbs a bit more by giving him some crazier, more atypical type beats. So 24 is a special album for me. It's Bizarre Ride to the Far Side by The Far Side. This album came out in, I think, 92 or 93. It was the first album that was like real hip hop, I guess. Because back in the day, I was listening to whatever was on the radio, whatever was on Much Music, like on the video station. So I was listening to a lot of R&B adjacent hip hop. So like Mace, the commercial Biggie stuff, Jay-Z, and obviously there's nothing wrong with that kind of music. Like obviously I still love that music, but I remember riding around in my friend's car in high school, and he would have this tape, and he was playing Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. He didn't know anything about rap music. Like I guess it was his cousins or something, but we listened to that every day. And so like the jazzy samples, the record scratching, the humor, yeah, just all of that it just gave me like a warm feeling. And in high school I met another friend named Deepak, and he introduced me to more stuff like this, and so that's how I got into like A Tribe Called Quest and Nas and Mobb Deep and stuff like that. So Bizarre Ride to the Far Side was like kind of like a gateway album for me. At 23, we have Black on Both Sides by Mos Def. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's yeah, I mean, this blew me away. I listened to this quite a bit. I'm trying to think right now. It was after high school, and I started listening to this. A buddy of mine named Jason, he put me up on like Mos Def, The Roots, Talib Kweli, Common. So that was another special time. 22, we have Danny Brown and Atrocity Exhibition. This is Molly's favorite hip hop album. If you guys are real ones, you would know. I mean, it's his most experimental album. It has everything, and it's mind blowing the way he just finds his pockets on how to rap on all these like crazy beats. Really unconventional. I like his honesty, his self-awareness, his humor. All of that shines through this album, backed with like I said, some crazy instrumentals. At 21, we have Phrenology by The Roots. As I said, with Black on Both Sides, I was kind of listening to this at the same time as like like Water for Chocolate or Black Star album, I forget what it's called, Quality by Talib Kweli. But this album by The Roots, it was a game changer. It was very experimental at the time. Well, for me anyway. There were some rock elements, there was some techno even, some punk. There's a song called The Water, I think it's The Water, which is like a 10-minute experimental rap song. Great features, like Talib Kweli's on here, Nelly Furtado. I love the album cover as well. It just brings me back a lot of nostalgia with that album. We're gonna move into our top 20 here. So number 20, I have Isaiah Rashad, The House is Burning. I know a lot of people wouldn't say this is their favorite Isaiah Rashad album. They would say Sylvia Demo or The Sun's Tirade. Don't get me wrong, I love both of them. I just have more of a personal connection with this one. I just used to play this nonstop. I just play this more than the other two. And I just remember like playing this a lot. We're driving around with Molly, and I know Molly liked a few of these songs, and when she expressed that to me, I was like, oh shit, this is great. I get to play this anytime, all the time, whatever. So even till this day, I play this album. At number 19, we have The Infamous by Mobb Deep. Again, another classic, another one that I don't have much to say about. Again, my buddy Deepak in high school, he's the one who introduced me to Mobb Deep. My favorite songs like Survival of the Fittest, Eye for an Eye, obviously, Shook Ones Part 2 are on here. 18 is another 90s hip-hop album. It's Black Moon, Enter the Stage. This one was interesting because I got to this album later. I would say after high school, I would always hear like, I think it's Who Got the Props or Buck 'Em Down, I think, would be in like these mixes I would hear. And it wasn't until later where I actually just decided to just listen to the album, and I was like blown away. Then I kind of forgot about it. Then like I would say around 2017, 2018, started getting into photography, and I don't know, like for whatever reason, like when I would like brainstorm on photography ideas, when I'd do some editing or whatever, like I was listening to this album quite a bit. So it kind of has like two lives for me, and it's an album that I can still play today for sure. 17, here's where it gets a little bit muddy. I picked The Life of Pablo by Kanye West. Picking two albums from Kanye is like, it's not an easy task, obviously. If I didn't have my little rule, I probably have 5 or 6 projects of his on this list. The interesting thing is like I didn't really like The Life of Pablo as much as everybody else when it first came out. It wasn't until a couple years ago where I just started to really appreciate it. And it even went another level, I think, earlier this year. I think because I started listening to this album differently, in a sense of started looking at it as more of a screenshot of Kanye's life. Because obviously it's not, I feel like it's super all over the place. It's super disjointed, but it works because it kind of represents the way like Kanye was at the time, kind of just scatterbrained, and so many great ideas. Like even though they're all over the place, they all sound good. And you have kind of a little bit of the industrial production from Yeezus. You have the soulfulness of earlier Kanye. You still have the bars in there. You still have the funnier lines. I like the aesthetic of the album cover and the aesthetics of everything when it came out, because it kind of influenced fashion as well. Not that I was a huge fan of that, but I was a huge fan of the fact that he could do that. And obviously it's Kanye, he just does that every time. But I just felt like as one whole package, this really worked. And this was never in my top 2, 3, 4, 5 Kanye albums, but now I would say it's my second. Obviously it's on the list. All right, so at number 16, I have Big Fish Theory by Vince Staples. I'm a big Vince Staples fan. Like I think he's a very consistent artist, but this one was obviously very different, very experimental, rapping over like electronic beats. And the thing is, me personally, I'm a huge electronic music fan, just as much or even more than hip hop. But this one was like perfect combination of the two. It's funny because I never really got into it until I saw him live. So there was a stretch of time where I went to music festivals for a couple years, and this guy would just pop up. He would be at every festival that I went to. Not that I was checking out for him, but then I would I would check out his shows and I was like, oh shit, like these songs are so good. And then I go back and listen to the album, and then I see him live again performing it. So that's kind of how it started, and it's one of those that's been aging well. Like you put this on today and it sounds fresh. I think if you're into Yeezus, like just the production, kind of similar. Obviously it's not the same, but it's kind of under the same umbrella, I would say. At number 15, I have an album called Fetty by Freddie Gibbs and Currency and The Alchemist. It's a short 9-track album. I just really enjoy the chemistry between the three. Freddie Gibbs is insane. Like I love his flows. I don't want to say he's underrated, but I feel like people should appreciate him more. He's really talented. And as I mentioned before, Currency, I just love how chill he is, how smooth he is. I feel like the two, even though on paper they don't sound like they would sound good together, but on Alchemist beats, it just works. It just works. And this is one of those albums that I could just play like over and over again, and I would be satisfied with it. 14, I have my guy, A$AP Rocky, Live Love A$AP. I mean, this guy has so much style, so much charisma. Pause. I'm a fan. Clams Casino. There's the first introduction to Clams Casino, and obviously like Molly loves Clams Casino. And she loves this album too, this mixtape. And it was funny because like there was a lot of big projects that came out that year. I think Drake Take Care was out, J. Cole came out, Section 80 if I'm not mistaken, Watch the Throne. But this was the one I went back to the most. And yeah, looking forward to his new project whenever that comes out. 13, I have A Tribe Called Quest, Beats, Rhymes, and Life. A Tribe Called Quest has like maybe 5 albums that are heralded as that could be considered classic. I know this one wouldn't be at the top, but it's one of my favorites. Again, this is one that I played a lot recently. I still play today. I think Jay Dilla has a lot to do with it as well. This is the first time he's been on a Tribe Called Quest project. I don't know. It's just one of those albums that really reminds me of the 90s. Obviously the other albums that came out in the 90s remind me of that, but this one's just much more clear for me. And I just remember seeing the music videos to like Stressed Out and Once Again when I was younger. Yeah, I just love A Tribe Called Quest, and I love the album. At number 12, again, another maybe a little bit of a hot take, maybe not really, is Kendrick Lamar, Damn. Yes, this is my second favorite Kendrick album, which makes things a little dicey moving forward here. But again, if I didn't have a limit, I would say maybe 4 or 5 of his projects would be on this list. I know a lot of people think that Molly and I are Kendrick stans. We're too old to be stans, but the thing is, like, he's super impressive. I mean, what can I say? Like, he's amazing. This album, I know it gets criticized because it's accessible and it's too poppy or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I like it, because he can kind of toe the line between these crazy concepts and be super lyrical, but also give you something that you could just play, you could just bop to. And I'm not saying like it's all pop. Like, you know, obviously there's a love song, there's the one with Rihanna. But he does have songs like DNA. He has songs like Pride and Fear and Duckworth. And my favorite Kendrick Lamar song of all time is Feel. Number 11, I have another B-sides collection, and it's The Lost Tapes by Nas. Now, I've spoken about this project before. This is my second favorite Nas album. I don't know if that's super controversial to say, maybe, but I think I like it mostly because it's very introspective and it's kind of stripped back from all the Nas Escobar type stuff, like his personas and his, you know, commercial type stuff. Not that I don't like that stuff. I do, obviously, like, you know, Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. So the It Was Written, kind of the different persona he kind of used in there, I still enjoy that. But with this one, it just it's nostalgic as well. I remember listening to this album quite a bit when I was younger, and I remember some of these songs had leaked. And I remember it was in high school, and then Deepak sent me these MP3s. He burned them on a CD and had songs like Drunk by Myself, Blaze of 50. Those were the two that kind of stuck out. But anyway, it's an amazing album. The first time I've ever heard Nas rap on an Alchemist beat. There's a song called Fetus where he's rapping from the perspective of a fetus. It's some crazy shit. And now we're going to move on to my top 10. At number 10, I have an album called Punkin by Maxo Cream. I know that one might catch you guys off guard. Maxo Cream is a rapper from Houston. This has it all. Like, the beats are amazing. I love his voice. I love his flows. And he has lyrics, man. Like, he has the content. Songs like Grannies, Roaches. Roaches is one of my favorite rap songs of all time. He also sampled Tame Impala in one of the songs. And this was an album that my friend Sean had introduced me to. And I first heard it when we were driving around. We went on a road trip. We used to take road trips quite a bit. And we drove from Toronto to Montreal, I believe, at this particular time. And he introduced me to a few albums. I think Sun's Tirade might have been on the same trip. He introduced me to Sun's Tirade, Mr. Motherfucking Esquire, Kismet. That's another one that's kind of like an honorable mention. You should check that out. But yeah, Maxo Cream, we listened to this from Toronto to Montreal. Even till this day, I love it. I play it as well quite a bit. At number 9, I have Souls of Mischief, 93 till Infinity. For me, this is a timeless record. Like The Far Side, they brought something different to West Coast music, because it was all, at the time, the most popular kind of sound was the G-Funk sound, obviously with Dr. Dre and Snoop. Souls of Mischief, a group of 4 rappers, they kind of brought in kind of like an East Coast vibe with the, I don't want to say boom, yeah, I guess maybe boom bap-ish type production, a lot of jazzy type production, but they were super lyrical as well, a lot of different flows. And one of those, again, like Black Moon's End to the Stage, I kind of pair those two. For me personally, 90s albums that I play a lot. Number 8 is a rapper from the UK. She goes by the name of Little Simz. And the album's called Grey Area. I know a lot of people have requested Simbi. I haven't seen anybody request Grey Area. But this album, I think, is flawless, in my opinion. It's 10 songs. If you know me, I should say I love short albums. So 10 songs, no skippables. The production is amazing. Her herself is incredible. Like, I love her flows. She has lyrics. She has a lot of charisma as well. She raps about different topics, about being a woman, about self-care, self-love. I mean, I don't know. I could go on and on about this album. It was one that I played a lot just before the pandemic, and then into the pandemic, she was one of my favorite artists. Her song Selfish with Cleo Sol, I think that was my number 1 song on Spotify one of those years. So I love Little Simz. We definitely will cover this album, and hopefully we'll get to Simbi as well. I know you guys have been asking for that. Number 7, Madvillainy by Madvillain. I mean, what can I say? It's MF Doom and Madlib. Madlib, I'm such a huge fan of his. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. I discovered this in the mid-2000s when I first started looking on Pitchfork Media. I was a Pitchfork Media geek during the 2000s, and then obviously this was the first album that Molly had reacted to on the channel. Don't watch it because it's really bad production value. But anyway, Madvillainy at number 7. Number 6, I guess, is technically a mixtape, so it's my favorite mixtape of all time, according to this list. It's Danny Brown XXX. It's just super consistent. Again, this is one of those albums that Sean played along with Maxo Cream and Mr. Motherfucking Esquire during our road trip. And I mean, everything you love about Danny Brown is in this album. Hilarious, self-aware. I feel like the production is a bit more consistent as far as it doesn't stray too far, but still gives you enough variety. Whereas like Atrocity Exhibition, it might turn off some people just because it does jump around quite a bit sonically. XXX is I think it's a flawless project. It's a lot of fun. Again, if this came out today, it would sound fresh. So now we have our top 5. Number 5 is Kanye West Graduation. This album is very near and dear to me. I've spoken about this before, but like Kanye and Pharrell, I would say were very influential for me as a young adult. I was super shy in high school. I didn't really talk to many people. I hung out with my friends. I mean, my friends were popular. People kind of knew me as just kind of like the popular guy's friends or whatever. So I was in the popular group, but I wasn't very talkative or anything. And so like as a young adult, it was really important for me to have my own identity, do my own thing. And when I went to university, I didn't have many friends because all my other friends from high school were doing other things. So it's kind of on my own, discovering music at the time. And then years down the line, I discovered like, Pharrell and Kanye, as I said. And I enjoyed their individuality, just being fearless with their creativity, with their art, their expression. And Graduation for me was at the forefront of that. I felt like I Wonder and Everything I Am and Champion, like those were kind of like my theme songs. Can't Tell Me Nothing. I remember going to the concert, the Glow in the Dark tour. I bought tickets. I was able to get tickets last minute, floor seats with a friend of mine, and it's one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Probably top 3 I've ever been to, and that one had NERD and Lupe Fiasco and Rihanna. Number 4 is a fairly recent album. Yeah, it's a number 4, but I have no qualms about it. It's Billy Woods and Kenny Siegel, Maps. Just the entire package is fucking flawless. Like, I admit that it took me a long time to get into this album, but now it's insane. Like, I bought the CD, I played it in the car, I listen to this all the time. It gets better with every listen. I think the fact that, like, you know, he raps about traveling and going on tour and all these things that, like, he details that are not as glamorous as you think. You know, like, if somebody thinks about travel, they think it's amazing and it's a lot of fun. And I mean, I've done a lot of traveling, and so I kind of understand some of, like, the downsides of traveling, kind of the loneliness sometimes, but also he raps about food in a descriptive manner. Kenny Siegel, he incorporates these jazz elements, some electronic elements. He sampled Aphex Twin. He samples, like, guitar sounds, kind of like indie rock type thing. So it's like, if you combine the lyrics and the sounds, it feels like it's grabbing these different times and different places from my brain and putting it all into one. So I have all these different feelings of nostalgia, even though this album came out last year or 2 years ago. I can't really remember. I just love the feeling that gives me, and the fact that it keeps getting better as I listen to it. I wouldn't be surprised if this eventually moves up a couple years from now. Number 3, my favorite Kendrick album, Good Kid, Mad City. It's a bit controversial to not have To Pimp a Butterfly on this list. I just have to be honest. Good Kid, Mad City, I think, is a flawless record, and I like the fact that it's a flawless concept, but if you take the concept out of there, if you just don't care about the concept, the songs, they just hold up. They're just bangers. Obviously, as we've said, Kendrick Lamar's are one of our favorite artists that we've covered on this channel. One of our favorite artists, like, ever, I guess. I mean, it's Good Kid, Mad City. I don't have much else to say about that. So my top 2 albums, it's funny because, like, for the longest time, I've been saying the number 1 album has been my number 1 album of all time. But I feel like it's very interchangeable with number 2 here, just because they both kind of were very important to me and started everything. So number 2 is Midnight Marauders by A Tribe Called Quest. In the same way that I was mentioning Kanye and Pharrell, Tribe Called Quest kind of really was maybe the start for me, where it became about, like, where individualism was very important to me at the time, and I felt like this was something cool I could listen to, that something I could relate to in that sense, because they were different at the time. They were very influential. Like I said, they influenced those 2 guys. They influenced Jay Dilla and numerous others, obviously, moving forward. Phife Dawg is fucking hilarious. He's one of my favorite MCs. His punchlines, obviously, Q-Tip's a legend. And this was an album that I've said this about all the other albums, but I played this nonstop. I play it today. It's the one that's, again, very near and dear to me. And if you're a longtime follower of this channel, you already know, as I said before, Nas is my favorite artist of all time, favorite rapper of all time, I should say. And he's at number 1, Illmatic. I know it's very cliche, but I genuinely love this album. Again, it was introduced to me by my buddy Deepak, and we had a full circle moment where Nas actually came to town and he performed Illmatic in its entirety, and I went with Deepak and his brother. And that was a special moment. Actually, one of our friends opened up for Nas. A couple of our friends, they're in a rap group, and they opened up. That was a special concert for us. But yeah, Nas, Illmatic, I consider this like the blueprint when I was growing up. Like 10 songs, again, flawless beats, flawless lyrics. I felt like if I would compare other hip hop albums to it, as far as, like, this was the standard for me. So if the beats weren't hitting, if it wasn't concise enough, then, you know, I would downgrade it. Like, this would be the bar for me. So yeah, I know number 1 pick is kind of boring, but I'm just being honest. Illmatic is my favorite. I know I missed a lot of big albums, a lot of big artists, but I don't know. That's just kind of the way it went. Feel free to comment down below and grill me if you like, and I'd be happy to discuss some of these people that I've left off, and some of these albums I've left off. But yeah, that's it. Apologies if I kind of, like, mumbled and stumbled. I'm not very comfortable talking to the camera by myself, especially without my partner in crime. If you guys enjoyed that, let me know. If you guys have some qualms about it, that'd be weird because this is my personal list, but let me know your favorite albums. And if you have any cool stories about how you discovered certain albums and how certain albums became your favorite, yeah, let us know. I think I'll end it there, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.